We're
Okay,
starting recording. Yep.
good. I'll say, Terry, say
I'm
something
going
really
to
wise.
I'm going to turn off my camera to save some video with.
Okay.
But I'm
Terry, now
here.
you can say something really wise and profound.
I just read some of Mike Waug's poetry.
Really?
Not that he wrote, but he is into that literature stuff, and poetry
Yeah.
is one of his interests. And it was pretty cool.
Good. I should send you one of John Brandy's new poetry books. I buy a few copies, and so I can send you down one.
Oh,
You can
okay.
maybe forward it to Wog. Hi, Bishop Kelly. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Yeah, here we are.
Yes.
And the rest should be joining soon. I guess we're a little bit early. So, well, I guess I just I can send saludos from John Hammock. I was just talking to John Hammock a little while ago. John Hammock
Wow.
he was the guy that, yeah, the guy that wrote the Habla Ni de los Campesinos book with me.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, how are you?
Hey, hey, hey. Good evening.
Yeah.
I see Jerry there from Ecuador.
Yeah, I'm here.
And Bishop Kelly. All right.
Yes.
John
Hi. How
Carl's
are you?
here trying to save a little bit of bandwidth as he's recording.
Hey,
Yes.
John Carl. All right.
So I was talking to, I just told Jerry, I was just talking to John Hammock just about an hour ago.
Okay,
He was
great.
hoping to get on this call, but he has something else going on. But he was intrigued with the notion that
Mhm.
Jerry and I will be talking next week about campesino leadership. So hopefully we can get him on the line.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be good to see him again.
Yeah. It's only, how long was it ago? 53 years ago? It seems like,
Yeah, something like that.
it seems like yesterday.
Yeah,
You'll get to see, Jerry, the photos of Cañar today. And you can compare them with the Cañar of 1966. It's quite an amazing difference.
Now, Robert, have you been involved in Ecuador?
no, not as much. Just visiting, in fact, most recently on business. But I have a good friend, and Jeff knows her. She's the former consul general for Ecuador here in Minnesota, where we have 40,000 Ecuadorians, many of whom don't speak Spanish, let alone English. They speak Quechua.
Yeah.
And so they're one of the more vulnerable groups of people here in the Twin Cities.
And you're working with them?
Well, Jeff has plans. He's done a little bit of interviewing, but they would be part of our target population, along with the African American and other communities here that are marginalized for one reason or another. And in trying to bring this idea forward of the lifeline loans that are based on social capital instead of credit scores. So we've been, and I think this is what fascinates me, Jerry, maybe it does you as well, but it's this connection between what we're learning about people in the informal economies around the world, about what they have in common, which is their ability to survive, and how that really can be turned into an asset, or should be seen as an asset. And this is true with African American community as well, I would think, Bishop. And so people who are forced to be on the edges, in this case because of skin color, are also have to develop skills to survive, which
Right.
in the right environment, be turned into an asset.
Hi, Heather. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, there's Heather.
So Rob was the one, he was with Acción even back in the days before I was,
Yeah,
which was
I was
1975. So you were there way back in the early 1960s.
Yeah, well, I started actually in Venezuela in '66, and so
Okay.
there were others before me. And I think Joe Blatchford had intended to beat the Peace Corps to the punch because they started in 61, as I
Right.
recall. And he actually started in 61. I think he might claim that they were like a month ahead of the Peace Corps, the private alternative. Because, you know, the interesting thing was that I didn't want to work for the Peace Corps at that time because I saw the Peace Corps as part of the United States government. And
I
so,
think it is.
yeah, right, it is actually. But going into Latin America in particular, I had a sensitivity on that point, so I decided to go private.
Yeah.
Because the assumption in Latin America was if you work for any part of the U.S. government, you were part of the CIA.
Yeah, I was called a CIA agent many times.
Yeah.
CIA agent and also evangelical, sometimes both at the same time. Eticomunista evangelico.
Yes. But we used
Hey.
to joke. In Venezuela, we joked about the Peace Corps because they arrived with these stenciled letters on their duffel bags, PCV, Peace Corps Volunteer, which meant Partido Comunista Venezolano.
Oh, that's good.
Hello everyone. Good morning there.
Hey, how
Yeah,
are
good
you?
evening there.
Hi.
Good evening, good morning here.
Yeah, good evening for us. And yes, actually, there's somebody that taking my class at Columbia who's based in Nepal. I'll put you in contact with her.
Sorry, Jeff, I didn't get your point.
Yeah, there's somebody going to take my Columbia class that's based in Nepal. And she's done
Okay.
a lot of work with Nava Prativa and others, so I can send you the
Okay.
link, and maybe you'll know each other.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So, Deval, you're Prabha's friend?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
My name is Deval. I'm from India. I'm Purvaja Sundar's colleague,
Yeah.
and she's the one who invited me. So I've been associated with her non-profit since 3 years and currently working on a social enterprise which focuses on livelihoods and women empowerment. So
Okay.
I'm really interested in the financial inclusion space.
Oh, okay. Well, we have one of the world's experts, several of the world's experts, but one is going to talk a lot today, Jung Shin, who has done a lot of amazing things. Oh, here we are.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, the gathering of the clan. Hi, Lena. How are you? And Marta.
Hi, Young.
How are you?
Hi, it's going.
Good, Marta. Yes, can
Hi,
you hear us?
everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We're
Nice
gonna have to
meet
do
you.
it. It's a English session today, but you did great on your English class last week, so we're all set.
I can understand more than I can speak, so I think I'll be okay. Thank
Oh, yeah,
you.
you'll be great. Yeah.
That's the same for me.
The guy behind the LM Consulting, yes, John Carl. How are things in Nepal?
Yeah, good. Yeah, infection rate is growing every day. So in Kathmandu also. So we are confining at home for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know, I'm getting kind of anxious to actually leave home and well, we get out. We drive a car here and there because it's pretty safe, but
Yeah.
go to a few places and have picnics outside and things like that. But
Yeah.
so far,
Yeah, my daughter was telling also in New York also now pretty much secured, safe to walk.
yes. Achut's daughter is working as a doctor in what hospital in Brooklyn? It's
Elmer's Hospital.
Elmer's. That's absolutely the epicenter of the COVID-19 crisis when people were. It's all down there in Jackson Heights and all through that section. So
Yeah.
she was absolutely on the front line, but she's okay. She didn't get sick.
Yeah.
Uh, And it's like, okay, well, let's see. We can give people a couple more minutes, and we'll get started. Binta, are you there?
Hi, Professor. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Can we see your face, or we just get to see your?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, something's wrong with my camera, I think. But I'll try to fix it and show
It's
my
okay.
face ASAP.
Yeah. Well, Binta's going to be my course assistant in the Columbia class, so she's going to have to
Okay.
make everything work, like the cameras.
Don't worry. It will work soon.
Okay, great. Okay. Well, hey, Bob.
Hi,
How you
Bob.
doing?
Long time.
Hey, Bob, long time.
Hi,
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
how are you all?
We're good.
Good, good.
Let me
Hi.
shift to the speaker.
Looks like your hair's gotten longer.
Yeah, it's my coronavirus haircut.
Oh, well, yeah, day before yesterday, I had a guy that I've been seeing a long time to cut my hair, and we did it outside under the umbrella with the breeze, and I'm still fine, and my hair is a lot shorter. It's a little bit like one of the Marx Brothers after a while. It was, yeah, getting out like that.
Okay.
How are you?
Hi, Jung Young.
Oh,
Hi,
here's Rich. Okay, so we're
Hi.
one.
Hi, Rich.
I was
Hi.
trusting your Spanish at the end of the video.
Oh, here you are.
Here.
Okay, hi, Binta.
Hi. It's working now.
Okay, good. Well, I think we have, let's see. Is
Juan
anybody-
Carlos doesn't have a video.
Excuse me?
Juan Carlos, no video. Oh, there he
He's
is.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John Carl. Man.
How are you, Bob?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, I missed a couple of meetings. Sorry about that.
Does everybody know each other? I think.
I don't know Punja or Martha Marquez or
That's right, because you've been gone a couple of
I
weeks.
guess I don't know Binta either or
Well, why
Deva.
don't we just start? Just take just start into my upper left-hand corner. My colleague from a mere 53 years ago and Peace Corps. Introduce yourself, Jerry. Just say a sentence about yourself, and then we can start with the main show is Chung Hyung Shin on the famous group. So.
Also Bishop Kelly. I think he's new.
Well, okay, Jerry, you want to say something? I can't hear.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Did you want me
say
to
a sentence
introduce?
about yourself?
Yeah, did you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I guess I know Jeff because we did a project back in the middle 90s, early middle 90s, with the small business enterprise. And we ran a program in the inner city. I thought it was quite successful. Jeff ended up getting a presidential award, I think because of part of our contribution. We just launched a financial literacy program project that Jeff has been part of, that we've been developing. And actually we were looking to roll it out in September, but because of COVID, we rolled it out during this season, pandemic.
Okay.
Basically. So I'll just stop right there.
Are you a bishop in a church, Bishop Kelly?
Yeah, he's,
Yes, we do missions locally, nationally, and internationally.
Okay.
so he's one of the gurus of. He has a whole network of pastors and people working on this initiative. Okay, just to make it real quick, Rob, we just a sentence or two.
Just as Rob Scarlett, I'm located in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and work with Jeff. I'm a former Acción volunteer back in the mid-'60s, working in Venezuela, Peru, Brazil, and other places, and went into a career in business, but decided to give that up in favor of being a disciple of Jeff Ash and his approach to savings group. I'm wearing nothing. I gave up all my worldly possessions.
You should be calling Bishop Jeff.
And I've never regretted a moment of it. So
Yeah. You have a real good nose for
you
where
need
the
to
money
be
is.
ordained then. You need to be ordained if you're leader of
I feel like I'm being ordained. This is part of the process. Thank you.
Okay. Heather, I think you're on mute, but
Hi, I'm Heather Cannon. I'm also in Minnesota, and I'm the co-founder of Uniting Distant Stars. We do vocational training in Liberia, West Africa.
and since you're from, why don't we just go right to Kelvin, who's the other, who's actually in Liberia at this moment, and he's the one running the local operations down there.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kevin Fumber, Uniting Distant Star in Liberia.
Yeah, and he presented a couple of weeks ago, and it was an absolutely fascinating presentation. Okay, so Jerry, you want to say a word?
Well, I got to know Jeff back in the early 60s, mid 60s as a Peace Corps volunteer in Ecuador. And after we were there a year, he called a group of us together and said, we got to do something like a community development school. And we talked all night, and out of that came a Peace Corps program.
And we're going to, Jerry and I are going to be on a dog and pony show talking about our experience, because it's the root of our thinking of that everybody just ask a few questions and the solutions are right there. And the community emerged out of that experience from 1966. So, yeah. Okay.
Jeff, your sound is breaking up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Is this better?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah.
Okay. My head looks big, but okay. Achut.
Hi everyone. I think I know most of you. I know you, Bob. My name is Achut Arial. I'm from Kathmandu, Nepal. It's almost about 6 o'clock in the morning. So I work in the field of the savings and credit for the last almost 25 years in several countries. Currently I'm in Kathmandu, and I know Jeff back in 1999, and since then we are really working in one way or other in this field.
Great. Well, we'll skip Hong Chin because she'll be our star of the night, but we'll get the rest of you. Deval, you said who you were, but there's only about 3 of us on the line then. So.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Deval. I'm from Surat, India. I am Purvaja's colleague. I've been associated with her NGO for 3 years and currently developing a social enterprise for the underprivileged women in Mumbai slums. I'm super happy to be on this call and interested in social financial inclusion space. So.
Oh, good, great. Martha Marquez.
Hola a todos. My name is Martha Marquez. I work in Baja California Sur, Mexico with philanthropies. I've been working with the savings groups for 5 years, I think. And I met Jeff where we were looking for whales on the ocean.
That's right, yes. You and your daughter, and we were looking for whales. No, we didn't see any, but it was fun. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Lena.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lena. Jeff and I collaborated together on a report on the savings groups in Guatemala and El Salvador. And I'm currently located here in Mexico City.
Great. And she's currently, along with Purvaja and others here, doing studies on the resiliency of the informal sector in the face of COVID-19. So we hope to be putting together a series of case studies on what people are doing. As they say in Spanish, a pesar de todo, despite everything, how people are surviving. Okay, Bob.
I'm Bob Sample. I'm one of the co-founders of this group. This group came out of a workshop we did in Abu Dhabi a few years ago, and so we're continuing to do the good fight here. And I've known Jeff since the 80s, I think. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I went out to Colorado to try to get a project going.
Right.
Microfinance.
Microfinance, right.
Back in the day.
Oh, and I'm in Denver, Colorado. Sorry, I forgot to say.
Sure. Okay, Prabha. Sindar.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It's also 6 a.m. here. I'm located in Bombay. Like Professor Jeff mentioned, I'm actually a student at Columbia University, and I'm already working on the project of better understanding the impact of COVID on the informal economy and their resilience of it. Thank you.
Good. Okay, Binta.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Binta. I'm originally from Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia, but now I'm studying at the Columbia University. I'm a second year of MPA in Development Practice. And I was a student of Finance for the World's Poorest last year that taught by Professor Ashe. And this year I will help him to be a course assistant and also do the research for analyzing the COVID impact in Indonesia.
Good. And you're based in New York, but you have all your connections out there you can build on. Okay. All right. Rich.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Gutowski. I'm calling, or I'm in Paterson, New Jersey, just outside of New York City. I'm sort of the odd duck here. I'm a businessman and a part-time amateur, very poor community developer. So forgive me up front. But we're working on developing social enterprises. We're big fans of grassroots efforts, and we hate to see people always begging for money. So we'd like to find a social enterprise that would provide sustainable support for all the great work you people are doing. So
sounds great.
Learning.
Yeah, good. And John Carl.
Hi, everybody. I work with Mr. Gutowski, so you can just echo what he said. You know, we're really honored to be a part of this group and a part of, you know, a small part of the work that all of you are doing. And, you know, we really are hopeful that that we can be successful and help spur you guys on. So.
Good. Well, we're waiting. Yes, spur away. Okay, now I'd like to introduce Jung Hyung Shin as a long-time friend of mine, and she has done amazing work with savings groups in the Dominican Republic, and was, I think, the first one to have this amazing insight that savings groups could be linked to cash transfer programs. And so she's done, I think, the first person in the world to make that connection between A and B and try it out. And I've also had the honor of going to the Dominican Republic 5 times and having traveling around visiting savings groups with Jung Hyun and having endless meetings and endless conversations over great Korean food in the Dominican Republic. So there we go. So without further ado, and hopefully some of you got a chance to see the video that Jung Hyun sent out a little bit earlier. It gives you a real feeling about whoops, what it looks like. Okay, here we go. Great.
Oh, I'm sorry, Professor. Just I wanted to have it ready. Is it
Yeah,
working?
Yeah, no, it's up here. Yeah, I see this.
Yeah.
I see it right there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Jung Hyun Shin. I am Korean, South Korean, but I'm now based in Santo Domingo. I am working for the Korea International Cooperation Agency. I'm working as a volunteer program manager in the COICA. And then actually I was here in the Dominican Republic before 2012 and 16, about 5 years. And then I was working only about savings groups. So that experience, you can see that now it has been about 4 years, but I had a great experience with the help of Professor Ash, who was my thesis advisor in the Brandeis University. And then actually, yes, I will be presenting my experience for these 5 years between 2012 and 2016. Interestingly, I still work with that government agency, this Conditional Cash Transfer Program agency, and I'm still very in touch with them. So yeah. I actually know about savings through when I was in Colombia in 2010. And then I was...
Somebody needs to mute their...
Yeah, somebody needs to mute because there's a conversation going on.
Yeah, so I had experience of meeting some savings groups in Colombia, and I was fascinated by their what they are doing actually, because I decided to focus on savings groups when I was doing my master program in Brandeis University. My background is mostly about, I was the volunteer of the Korea International Cooperation Agency in Dominican Republic back in 1996. It's a bit like just like a Peace Corps volunteer, and I was always in the international development, but I always found something, there must be some interesting idea that can really help people move forward, grow. And I couldn't find it until that time, but when I was in Colombia, I had the opportunity to meet several savings groups, and it was really, I thought that this is the exact thing that I was working for. And fortunately, after that, I had the opportunity to go to Brandeis, and I had a great luck to meet Professor Ash, and I was focusing on savings group, but mostly also in Colombia, I saw some people from Conditional Cash Transfer Program, and then I always have been thinking that it'll be great if I can connect savings group with Conditional Cash Transfer. So this is how I started anyway. I came to Dominican Republic 2012, to do my practicum, to write my thesis about savings group. And then during this 2012 and 2013, one year and a half, something like that, I was able to focus on this simple and effective way of building savings group for scale, based on, right. And because I really studied VSLA methodology written by Hugh Allen in the manual, but I always think for this program, this methodology to scale up, it is necessary to be simplified. So I am out of scratch. I started working, and to create savings group, I was back at that time with the UNDP program. I was UMV volunteer, and had the opportunity to meet many farmers group, and I started my practice with farmers groups. Anyway, briefly after that, I joined Fundación Capital, which is an NGO based in Colombia, and Fundación Capital work financial inclusion for the Conditional Cash Transfer Program population. So it was perfect for me. So I persuaded the Fundación Capital to let me work on the savings groups as the tool for the financial inclusion. So I worked with the Fundación Capital, and then we were first piloting about savings group and banking, linking with the bank with the savings group. And later on in 2014, I had a honor to meet those the world experts of the savings group here in the Dominican Republic, and they convinced the vice president, who was also the head of this conditional cash transfer program, and she allowed us to do the pilot program with the conditional cash transfer population. So we had a brief 7 months of pilot, and then the vice president announced the savings group as a public policy in 2015. As a result, I was able to start training all the government people who were in the conditional cash transfer program. So in summary, I was able to help create group, this 800 some group, about 14,000 members. So this is a brief things, but I have a lot of pictures from now on, so it's not going to be boring. As you know, saving groups, saving group is VSLA. I'm talking about, when I say about saving group, it's VSLA, Village Saving and Lending Association, which was started and promoted by the CARE International in 1991, and Hugh Allen wrote the manual. And the saving group, for the people who may not know about it, it's very good methodology to reach the poor, young, and the distant. Most of saving groups are concentrated in Latin America, Africa, and saving group is this methodology is considered as a simple, cost-effective volunteer replication, and eliminate money lender in most occasions. And also it increases in investment and asset, house, furniture, electrodomestics. However, saving group has some challenges, which is it requires some subsidy needed for program operation. This is why I was also interested in linking savings group with the government, because government has their own budget. So I was thinking, if savings group is promoted by government, we may not be needed with financial support, external support. But let's see. So conditional cash transfer program is actually started in Mexico in 1997. When I was in Brandeis, it was very much promoted in 2010, 11. It was considered as most successful anti-poverty program in Latin America. But that's not very, it's not very grand program, because it's just giving money, about $20 or $30 per month, so that people can buy the basic food stuff. And but it was very much promoted like it's one of the best anti-poverty program, and the World Bank and Inter-American Bank, they promoted it a lot. And its goal is to alleviate immediate poverty and break on intergenerational poverty, because conditional cash transfer, as you may know, that you must send your children to school, and you must also have them to have a medical checkup regularly. Only then you can receive the government money. Well, so it is considered as having impact on school attendance, nutrition, and health. But also, many experts agree that it doesn't have any increase in human, physical, and financial assets. So this is actually outdated, because I used it when I was in the conference, Microcredit Summit in 2014 with Professor Ash. I mean, this is I use at that time, I was very much involved in this conditional cash transfer program in Latin America. So I had some, this kind of a popular number, as you know, but Dominican Republic, as you can see, this is a little bit less than 1 million people, but still it's maintaining this amount. So we may probably think still the number stays the same. And I must also say, in Mexico, the program was eliminated, and then it was converted as a scholarship program by the new president. But you can see that Brazil has a lot of people. At that time in 2015, there were 15, there were about more than 30 million people receiving conditional cash transfer. But this is the number of the families. So as you know, there is not only one person in the family, about 4. So you can see that 120 million people influenced by the conditional cash transfer program in Latin America. So I actually focused on creating simple methodology. So this is the tools that I used when I was training people, and this is it. So people can easily get usually. So I also created a very simple manual, which is just eight pages. And with this manual, people just follow this. There is also one video, especially just showing one saving group meeting. So people can just, we did one simulation, and then the simulation somehow worked. So just 2 hours of training, people could start. And then I encourage the people to do and doing, and then doing by, I mean, learning by doing, actually. So this is the manual I used. I mean, just that they need to, the president need to read, and people can follow this. Okay, so these are some savings groups that I created. I helped to create. This woman has a house now. She's a domestic worker, and she built in a very short time. I was surprised that she built her house like this now. And there are some other savings group. This is one on the upper side is the Haitian saving group, but it didn't last actually. My saving group, because we didn't have too many, I was actually, when I was doing my thesis, I just didn't have enough. I am the only person who was training, so I must say the mortality rate was not very low. So I actually tried many types of savings groups and trying to refine my methodology. Okay, also with the Fundación Capital, we had to also connect savings group with the banks. And so some lessons is that saving group and banks are not only complementary, but indispensable. I really think the saving group, I mean, the banks is very important for the existence of saving group, because the more you save, the money needs a safe space. So I always, at the end, I used to tell people, saving group people, that don't keep the money in the box because it's very dangerous. And then, yeah. And I also noticed the more mature is the saving group, the more open they become, more open to saving to banks. And also banks prefer saving group members. I worked with several banks here in the Dominican Republic, and they really like the saving group members because they are very disciplined in paying the debt and also saving. And also savings group respect the bank policy. Savings group can distinguish the services of banks and groups. People start saving and they somehow get more and more knowledgeable about financial issues, and that they start to, learning more about bank. And however, I also noticed that not every group wants to be connected with the banks. So these are some of the pictures that I used, that I took. So we had the Adopem Bank, which is working with the low-income women usually, and we were able to convince the Adopem to go to the village very far from the cities, and they helped open the bank account there directly, and also they are promoting there. And finally, we were able to make Adopem install one. What is this? A small bank. It's not like a bank. It's called.
What's it called?
How do you call it? I just forgot about it. Anyway, it's not a real bank, but it's bank. They have they can have some simple services. So sure. This is a small shop. So Adopem was able to place this one in a place where there was no bank before. And this became very popular later. So we also promoted children having a bank account. So Adopem has a children's account. So we helped to promote. And also we had, I was struggling to help to make the government to adopt a saving group, to start somehow doing pilot program with the Fundación Capital. However, the government was not very easy to convince. But at that time, Professor Ash and then Hugh Allen and then other Paul Lippi and Bill Maddox and so all the candidates, important, were the experts, came to Dominican Republic. And it was a great, great, great help for me because Vice President agreed to meet us. And then she allowed us to start pilot in 2014 with the conditional cash transfer program, which is called PROSOL in Dominican Republic. So the PROSOL has a structure very interesting because I recently learned that the PROSOL has about 4,000 government, the staff and 1,500 volunteers. So you can see it's a huge institution, bigger, probably the second biggest one when it comes to the number of the employees after Ministry of Education. So I started doing pilot with this field worker, which is there are about 1,800 people. So my methodology was training to, and then after this pilot with PROSOL, we had also approval to do for the expansion of the savings groups to the entire country. So I trained about 1,500 field workers. And my methodology was just the training using the simulation and 1,500 field supervisors on saving, lending, and shell out meeting. And monthly meeting with the 20 leaders. We used to meet on a monthly basis, some 20 outstanding leaders, outstanding people. And we also, so I was able to, after expansion, I was able to create this kind of, savings groups. So you can see there's some trainings here with the government staff. The people with the green shirts, they are the field workers. So, and this is also in the headquarters. We also formed one saving group, and they saved pretty well. Still, they are saving. And then, yeah, this is the saving account that this methodology I used. Very simple. As you can see, there is no number here. We used instead of the stamp, we used just a pen so that they don't need a more sophisticated step. So these pictures are taken by Professor Ash. As you can see, some quality when it comes to quality, better than me, much better. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
yes. These are the children.
So Professor Ash came many times to Dominican Republic to help with all this. Every moment, it was a great help for me, and took a lot of pictures and presented a lot of report to the government as well. This is as the member, saving group member, the boy who is here, and also we try to keep on connecting, linking bank with the saving group. And these people are using some other sophisticated bank service. What is this? Yeah, so they can keep 6 months, and then this money can generate more more interest. I'm sorry. And yeah, so you can see this is the first left picture on the top. This is the 20 leaders monthly meeting, something like that. And with this, also the director of the conditional cash transfer program, banks, and then we used to have some regular meetings with the leaders. And those leaders were some very outstanding people, were also rewarded later. They were promoted, some of them. So challenging, time constraint of group supervisor. As you can see, the field workers, they used to have a lot of other assignments. And with our program, we gave more assignment for them without having their salary changed. So there was a lot of time constraints, so not everybody followed. Just my policy was every supervisor just to create one group, but that didn't happen. And also negativity of some group supervisors. Yes, they didn't find the saving group as something interesting methodology to help people because they had so much work and so much little time, and they had to do this and they hated it sometimes. And also there was some lack of support from immediate superiors. If your boss encourage you to do, everybody will do. But if the boss is not very well conscious about this program, not everybody was supportive. I mean, if they are not supportive, the people who are under them tend not to be very enthusiastic. And also there was a transportation cost. We did not provide any cost. and also poor performance of the savings groups due to the lack of reinforcement on the methodology. Yeah, sometimes because I had to train so many people with just a few people, and then the performance, we couldn't give enough proper reinforcement. So there were many poor quality groups too. So my finding is quality matters. There should be a special team who can train the people and provide the methodology. I mean, provide what is this? Yeah. So yeah, there should be a special team who is only just working on savings groups. Even if they are a small team, there should be people who are 100% concentrating on savings group with a good financial support. Also, high interest on savings among the PROSOL families. This program, a lot of people, we found out that they were saving for the first time in their lives, and there were many people who liked this savings group. And also, I must say, field staff have a good local knowledge and close relationship with the families. However, not all of them are good to become facilitators. So work with the most interested people in savings groups. And I spent a lot of time sometimes to work with those savings group who are not motivated, or the facilitator who are not motivated. But I think it's a waste of time. We must focus more on the people who are working well, because if the group works well, that groups can inspire other groups. But if one group doesn't work well, that group will not encourage other group to follow, to save in the groups. Okay, so conclusion is, I think savings groups is complementary to the conditional cash transfer program, which is PROSOL, because many savings group members started building house, and they used to have a better income. They started having better income. They used to have a job. They have a payment for the school fee, and more solidarity among the members. And I think also savings group is a path to the economic independence for PROSOL families. It may sound very slow, but I think this is the way to really lift people from poverty. Also, PROSOL, I think that this conditional cash transfer program, PROSOL, has the structure and human resources for the scale up, but they need some more interest, or some more investment on savings groups. And then if you start working with the savings groups in the government, it can cost less, actually. And also, I must say, after 4 years, that there is a still savings group facilitator in the conditional cash transfer program here, PROSOL. You can somehow guarantee the follow-up continuity. But you must also have some good institutional support for the savings groups to be successful in the conditional cash transfer program. I think the top leader, the head of the institution, should be really committed. Otherwise, it's not really easy to implement savings groups in the government. And I think also savings group is a platform for the genuine financial inclusion. So that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's great. Here we are, the overview.
Some good picture. Okay, so I'm going to just.
Yes, I love this picture of these two little girls. I remember I was so impressed with the children's groups, and I remember the vice president of the country said, "Well, tell me, how do these savings groups work?" And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, but the person who is the real expert at this is the 11-year-old girl that we interviewed last night, who was running a savings group with iron discipline there in some of the poorest community slums out there in Santo Domingo." So I'll explain it, but she's the real expert, and she was absolutely amazing. We have a whole series of photos and of her in operation. It was, to see all these little kids being so serious with their little savings books, and they're only like in the 4th or 5th grade, and all of the groups started in schools and the like. It was really really impressive to see them in operation, taking this extremely seriously. And it was just anyway, I'll stop there, and I'd like to throw it open to questions. So, Mark, how does this
I have a
correspond to
question.
your experience? No, go ahead.
A
Rob.
question for Jong Young. In your work in Dominican Republic, have you also heard of similar efforts made in other countries? I'm very familiar with Bolsa Familia in Brazil.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if other countries have also seen your work and have been inspired to try something like that in other parts of the world.
Okay, yes. Fundación Capital had, at that time, we had a Proyecto Capital, which is a program that was funded by the Ford Foundation to bring the financial inclusion to the conditional cash transfer population in Latin America. So at that time, when I was working with Fundación Capital, we had about 12 countries working together in different parts of Latin America. And then Paraguay, my colleague in Paraguay, they got very interested in savings group, and they started doing it, and now they are still doing it. Not in a very large scale, but it's not really conditional cash transfer program, but it's my colleague from Fundación Capital who is working with other group. She is working, yeah. However, however, I'm not sure. I don't think other countries' government promoting this savings groups there.
Yeah, interesting.
Hi, Jung.
Thank you.
Thank you for your nice presentation. I think I have a couple of questions here. One is that, you mentioned about you organize a kind of monthly meeting with the leaders, right? So what was the purpose of that meeting? Because I also found, that sort of monthly meeting among the leaders is very effective. Okay. But what particular agenda that you had, while organizing that meeting in every month, what was your agenda?
Exactly. We were meeting to see our performance every month, how much change, how much growth there was during the month. And also mostly we spent time to share our experiences, good or bad, everything. So it was really, I must say it was really effective and it was really good. However, it costs money. So we couldn't really do as much as possible, but yes, we somehow continued when it's.
No, the thing is, I also did it. I also did the same thing in Nepal and also in Bangladesh. What I found that, also I didn't find that it's quite a costly thing. We just prepare a small lunch for everybody for that meeting. But the good thing is that every leader, they talk about the progress that they have made last month. That really helps. It's kind of competition. Okay, which group has performed well? That really push the other less performing groups to perform more so that they can present that thing in the upcoming kind of meeting. So that sort of things is really, really good. And I really found that that process very effective in terms of improving quality and then performing better, so that I really like that.
I absolutely.
And also one other question that while doing this cash transfer, although it's a conditional cash transfer, is there any condition related to savings and credit to be made before they get the cash?
Yes, of course. They must send their children to school, and also they must send their children for medical checkup. And all these field workers that I trained, they had to go to school every month, and they had to go to the medical center every month to check whether families were really there. So their job was mostly verification, and also they had to give a lot of other types of training. Yeah. So in Dominican Republic, it's not only two either. Not only sending school, or not only sending the medical checkup. Not only these two. They also have to participate in a monthly meeting. If they don't participate continuously, they will not receive their their money. And also they had to enroll themselves in some special training program, vocational training, So there are several other types of, some requirements. So
and then I use even the saving, regular saving is also mandatory. For every meeting they must meet. And also they say, irrespective of the amount, whatever amount they can, but that should be a mandatory condition, I use it in
where? Which country?
Yeah.
Because in Dominican
it was in Sri Lanka. It was while I was working in Sri Lanka, I used that, and then it worked very well.
It worked well.
Yeah, it worked well. I think the people were because it was we are not talking about huge money to be saved, but the tiny amount that they need to save is just developing a habit of saving. regular saving. That really worked. There was several conditions that we put, and one condition was that also you must also attend the regular meeting every month, and also whatever amount that you can afford, but you have to save some amount, just to create a habit. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to jump in with a question. Thank you so much for your presentation. Just had one question. What were the challenges you faced while having savings group of children?
Children.
Yeah.
You must have savings group of children only after the adult group is made. And the adult group should support children's group. But adult group should not abuse children's group as well, because children usually need some supervision actually. So for that to happen, you must have some adult group already established, already knows about how to work, how to manage the savings group. But last year I saw, when I was visiting one savings group, I saw a very, not very pleasant thing, because savings group, I usually do not allow savings group in the children to lend money. But that group, children were lending money and then paying their interest, and I was wondering what happened with this, because children do not need lending much actually, and that's because their parents ask the children to to lend money so that they can use it. And, they were using the children. So as a result, because of the lending and then paying back, because of this, the group meeting extended so much. It is very, so I was scolding actually to the parents, scolding the parents not to use the children for the, to get the loan, So that was interesting. But mostly, if it's not happen, if there is no lending involved, I think children's group work well. I should work only by the supervision of one of the, any adults.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed your presentation too. I just had a question, because you were talking about how you were able to get the government to participate. How were you able to basically take their temperature that there was no amount of corruption or anything like that in order to do that? Because not every country, that would be an easy feat. So.
Well, in Latin America, actually, the conditional cash transfer, there are many governments, almost every government is involved with this program. So there is just some coordination meeting that they have every, some months. There is a special, group of each government meeting together. So there is some, and I also, so this is a program. Well, I don't know whether much corruption is involved, but from my point of view, I worked in the Dominican Republic quite a long time in different time. And this is the agency that I was able to see probably most disciplined than others, less corrupt than others. However, recently we had a government changed. I mean, there is a new government, and the new government is now telling that there are many data deleted and the money is given to only the party members, something like, I hear something like that. But from my point of view, because I had many experience with other government agency in the country, this PROSOL, when it was working pretty well from my point of view. Yeah. And because of the visit of the experts, it was much easier. It was very difficult to enter because it's not easy.
Do you know of any African countries that have been able to do such a thing from your studying? Because I know you were looking at a lot of stuff.
Sure, there are many African countries doing the conditional cash transfer now. About a few years, 2 or 3 years ago, I heard about almost 70 countries in the world, but in Latin America, that there is 19 countries involved in it. So it means that almost, many African countries also have that program. Okay. Maybe it's not very big scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things about the programs in Africa, which are, as Jong-Hyun was saying, in many of the countries, but they're cash transfer programs, not conditional cash transfer. So it's much more streamlined. They just give out the money. and been a lot of evaluations done and studies indicating the outcomes. When you give people just the money, they use it extremely well. And as Jung Hyung said, almost all the time of all the staff is checking to see if they're going to school, checking, and it takes all their time and it's huge cost. But if you just give people money, it works generally quite well. And we'll be that's so the cash transfer versus the conditional transfer, cash transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And also, I also must tell you that 2015, I think it was October, Professor, we went to Zambia, Lusaka, because there was a savings group meeting, international, the conference. So Professor and I and then the representative of PROSOL, we presented about our experience at the time, and there were many some people from different governments of different countries. They were showing interest about our experience, and I remember that I was talking with them. And also I remember last year or 2 years ago there was a paper published about precisely this issue, savings group and conditional cash transfers by the SIP, right? I think
yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I saw a lot of government involved in the conditional or unconditional cash transfer program in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I can just suggest one advantage that I was told in Brazil was that, relatively speaking, in order to help this most desperate part of their population, this required much less bureaucracy, much less human intervention, because everything in Brazil is all digital. And so people, once they were approved and in the system, there had to be some verification, but even that was minimal. And so there was the opportunity for corruption in those systems, if they're well managed and well designed, is less than it would be in a typical government bureaucracy. And so that was, in theory, less opportunity for corruption.
Actually, you must know that the conditional cash transfer program, each country have different name, each country have a little bit different variation. For example, in Colombia, almost 3 million people involved in this program. They transfer money directly to the bank account of each recipient. However, in the Dominican Republic, you don't have that one. You just transfer, the government transfer money, but to some card, which is called Solidaridad. With this card, you only go to the designated grocery shop, and you can buy only the something to eat. So this is a little bit different. Dominican Republic, no cash is involved, so we cannot say, well, but similar thing, yeah. People do not see the cash. They can buy, they cannot see.
Let me just jump in one question.
Sure.
Thank you very much. I learned from your presentation, but I have one question that you talk about school fees, helping with school fees. So I want to know if there was a strategy that, you guys put together from their saving to pay their school fees, or it was the school fees are paid from the organization or whatever.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. What was very impressive for me when I went to visit several children's groups, I was asking them, what are you going to do with your savings? And they say that I am saving to go to the university, So we are not giving them money. They are saving. Their purpose is going to the people are saving to send their children to school. To school. When I say school in Dominican Republic, it's mostly college actually. Also or school in the normal school as well, public school, because anyway you need some uniforms and school pencils, all these things require.
Yeah,
uniform mostly actually, yes. Uniform, and then the what is that, the backpack and all these things. Well, you need the money for this, so people are saving to provide. Also, many parents save to buy some computer to their children or something like that, you know. But
Okay.
also children save to go to their university, I heard a lot.
Okay, and you guys started with cash bags, and later it went as far as bank. And you told us that some people did not love, you know, to work with banks. So these people, how you guys were treating this kind of people? How were you managing them?
So you mean that some people do not want to use the bank, right?
Yeah.
Good, interesting, interesting. You paid very much attention to the details. Right. Some people, I remember one of the group in San Cristobal here close, they have a lot of savings. They save a lot. Some of the saving members, they bought house and they built house, and the other person, they bought 2 cars, you know, something like that to make money out of that. However, this group have a long years still existing, which is built in 2015, 14, so 5 years. Still they're working, this group, but they never want to leave the money in the bank. It's because their argument is that because they give lending, they lend the money very much among the members. They are very active in lending, so they don't find it necessary, and they think that they're the place where there's money is deposited. I mean, the money keeper's, box keeper's house is pretty safe, but we cannot really. We tried to persuade them, but it was not easy. So we just they are saying like that. But I noticed also once I participated in their savings meeting, and I saw them. They have in the box so many different types of, you know, the bag with a different.
Right.
So I just think that there might be some corruption involved in this, because the box keeper has been the box keeper for many years. And I asked and plainly told them, but the group still like that. So.
Thank you.
I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to. I think one of the interesting things, the concept of form of savings group seems very simple, but I think what Jung Hyung and Acute and Martha know that the devil or God is in the details. It's, the concept is simple, but actually implementing one of these projects really works at a very high level of performance. There's a lot of details into it, and so it's just, we'll just start up. It's much more than just, let's start a group. It's there's a lot of details, a lot of strategy, and a lot of things. And I think one of the most common themes in all of this is getting the leaders together monthly. There's an enormous impact, and we found that with the Saving for Change groups in El Salvador. These monthly meetings where everybody exchanges ideas, motivates people, gets them motivated to do more work. Okay, but I also urge all of you to, now this is kind of the nuts and bolts, but if you really want to get an idea of how a savings group feels, do look at the video. He'll send the link, 11 minutes, and you'll get an idea of what is savings group, all these details, but you can actually see them in action, and it gives you a totally different perspective on what it actually means. We're in the nuts and bolts, do this, do that, how and that, but that kind of gives you what's behind all of this. What's the purpose for all of this? Okay, I just want to just give you an advertisement for what's coming up. Jerry Harrison Burns and I will be doing the complementary leadership program, which, as I said, kind of underscores the idea that people that the outsiders think of as incapable of rational thought, these serfs that have been living on the haciendas, can, when they ask them a few questions, are equally or better adapted to come up with great plans and implementing than all of us with all of our degrees, and so that's great. Then the week after that, Paul Rippey is going to talk about 2 themes. One theme is how to reach down to the absolute poorest, and the strategies that require changing the focus in the market to not to look at who saves the most, but let's include everybody and how he did that and how that worked out. And also, he is one of the experts, and Richard and John Carl will find this very interesting. He's the expert on all of the efforts of linking groups to banks and also the electronic record keeping within groups and all those issues. So this is a person that really has, and we talk about it in theory, but it's actually, he's studied all of this and knows the pitfalls, many, many pitfalls, and how to avoid the pitfalls. So that'll be, and then after that, we'll have more programs coming up. An exciting channel here. We have just a word, but Rob, why don't you bring us up to date on all the work that you've done and all the excruciating details. Talk about the difference between coming up with a kind of nice idea and the excruciating ideas of actually getting money in your hands. You can talk a bit about that, and then just a little bit more on some of the work being done in the field.
Yeah, just briefly, within the Rotary, we're applying for funds to support continuing work savings groups in Guatemala among the indigenous women in the Northern Highlands. That was approved at the district level. There are a few questions they want to have answered before it moves to the foundation. I'm working on that. And then, of course, on the other hand, locally, here in the Twin Cities, we're helping Jeff introduce the concept of the lifeline loans for small, vulnerable enterprises, mainly immigrant and other marginalized people, to try to get money to them that doesn't require credit scores, using social capital instead of credit scores. So we're gradually moving along. We found some potential partners that I'll be connecting Jeff with. One thing I wanted to mention, because I noticed that Heather had asked that she did not get the video, Jong-Yung. And so Jeff, maybe you can make sure that that video gets out to everybody on the group.
Sure. Yeah.
It's something I know we want to see. And we want to see more of Jong-Yung. Hopefully she's featured in the video. And,
oh yeah, she's there. Yes.
Okay.
I am very sorry, but the presentation was not very, these days it was really hectic because of the new government, and there was lots of things happening here. Yeah. So
no, it was very good.
It was very poor quality, so I'm sorry for it.
Your presentation was excellent, and I'm looking forward to seeing the video too.
And it seems that the new government is interested in this program as well. You just told me.
Some high-level support there. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So Lena, just a few words about your research and how it's going, and also we can Parvaha and Binta have also done a little bit of work on that. So, but not in detail, but just kind of what you're doing.
Sure.
We'll talk about this later as a separate presentation.
So I've been conducting some interviews here locally in Mexico City with the informal sector, trying to figure out what they've been doing to stay afloat during this time. And yeah, so it's been very, very interesting. You know, I've gotten a chance to speak with a variety of street vendors, food vendors, small shop owners. And so now, yeah, I'm just in the process of compiling all my research and then putting it into a report.
Great. And Prabha, why don't you bring us up, because you just did a couple of interviews, or going to, so I have yet to look at them yet. I haven't got a chance to download them, but.
Yeah. So I've also been conducting interviews like Lena in Bombay, but mine till now have primarily been with women. Actually, Deval has been helping me out with that as well. And an interesting thing that I found out, which I didn't know, was that here, I used to think that savings group in India would be called chit funds or, self-help groups, but the colloquial language is actually BC. And so when we were talking to these women, they would say we are in a BC, which is actually a savings group. So I actually found a new name for it, which is used in India.
What's it called?
BC. It's just BC.
BC. Huh.
They just say BC, and and I don't even think it has a full form, or they don't know the full form. They just say BC. So yeah, that was interesting.
Good. And Binta, what have you Have you gotten started yet, or you're kind of?
Actually, I haven't done the interview yet, but from what I observe, actually my research area is the Greater Jakarta area. So it's kind of one of the biggest metropolitan city in Jakarta. But from my observation, it's just my observation, not really directly the data from the interview, that most of the small medium enterprise are quite resilient to facing the pandemics, and then some of them also has kind of, we call it in Indonesia arisan. It's quite similar with this. Do you know that about that?
Oh, I remember the term. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called arisan. It's not a savings group, but the pattern is quite similar with the savings group. And I think, and most of the arisan member are women, and they usually use the money from arisan for the emergency fund. So when the COVID-19 hits, their small vendors, small enterprise, they use this money to support the family.
Right. And as I remember from your class, you're also studied the cash transfer program in Indonesia.
Yeah,
So
like
you could have some connection with Jung Hyung and that.
Yeah, that's
you wrote
really
your paper on that,
interesting.
I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I actually working for Indonesian government. I'm a policy planner for Ministry of National Development Planning, or Bappenas. So I'm a civil servant then. And 2 years ago, I did the evaluation work for the conditional cash transfer program in Indonesia. So Indonesia is also one of the developing country that started cash transfer since, I think, 2005 or 2006. I quite forgot. But yeah, I think similar with what the Dominican Republic did, the conditional cash transfers aims for improving the people's well-being, especially in the education, health, and also their financial capability. But I think what I found interesting and different with what Indonesia did compared to other countries, we already have like, we call it, I don't know, an integrated system. So the cash transfer recipients is linked to the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health data. So it's quite easier for us to monitor which one is the member that's really follow or eligible for the program. But I think it's really interesting to have, you know, savings group as a formal policy in the government, because I think that's really quite innovative. Because in Indonesia, I know there are many saving groups, community that are distributed across the countries, but you know, each of them are mutual exclusive, and I think it's really great if the government can be formalized into like a single policy, and they can regulate all of the mechanism in the country. So it's really, yeah, nice to have the presentation from Jung Hyun tonight.
Great, thanks. And Deval, maybe you can join Purva in her work. Bob, so what do you think about all this? What's your take? We've gone off in a different direction as when we started, when you were trying to get the Ultra Poverty Summit and workshop going. Oh, you got to take off your mute. Oh, there you
I
go.
wish we could get all of this maximized, and you know, we presented 6 methodologies, this being one of the major ones in Toronto, and I wish we could get them all integrated and working together all over the world, and you know, and ending poverty, and that's what we all want.
Yeah. Well, I think all in this group, and this group keeps expanding out.
Yeah.
We're having an enormous amount of. Our next thing is to record this and then pull together these conversations in a series of initiatives that will help. We hope define a whole new area in approach to development, which actually believes that the people and at the bottom have all sorts of great ideas and just a matter of asking them.
Well,
working
I think the idea of connecting savings groups and microfinance and cash transfers, both conditional and unconditional, and remittances, remittances and cash transfers are the big money sources.
Oh yeah, sure.
But they don't get people out of poverty. So if they could be linked to methodologies like we're talking about, savings groups, microfinance, other techniques, then we could actually be using all that billions of dollars and getting people significantly and permanently out of poverty.
Yeah, just it'll take another couple of years, so I think.
Yeah, yeah. How long have you and I been working on this?
More than 2 years.
You'll probably have gray hair before that happens.
Well, I'm so happy the younger generation is going to finish up this job that we started decades ago.
Yeah.
Because we're going to pass out the scene someday, and all of you are going to have to take over. Well, great.
Well, we were making significant progress in reducing poverty all over the world, but with COVID, I'm not so sure what's happening right now. I mean, there's significant increase in poverty, at least temporarily right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
that's what the researchers here are going to look at, that question of how do people survive in the informal sector given COVID-19?
Yeah.
So we'll be coming up. Well, once again, an absolute, anybody want to give any final words? Jerry? Anybody?
No, I'm good. I'm learning.
Well, we'll be on the call next week, and as always, really wonderful to see you all. And we have a floating. A lot of people said they wanted to be on tonight, but they had other things. But maybe they'll show up next week, and it's sort of a floating group of people. So as long as we keep about,
Well,
we're great.
I have a little fundraiser for the Fundación Adelante on Sunday, which is it's a microfinance in Honduras, and we're doing an experiment with doing a house party with Zoom. So we'll see if it works.
Okay. And also note the link to everybody that didn't get it. And have a great morning or night or wherever you are.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
organizing.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for organizing this.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Jeff.
Bye,
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.